Awesome. Well, I want to be respectful of your time, and I wanted to say thank you all for joining me today. I'm really looking forward to this vision board masterclass. I named it masterclass. To be honest, it's a little bit more workshop-ish. Either way, I think you guys are going to get some really great information today. Wanted to introduce myself. My name is Tiffany Marlink. I am a life coach based in Portland, Oregon. I've been studying the law of attraction for over a decade, really. It started with an infatuation with the book The Secret, which has definitely gained a lot of traction since I read it. I know a number of other people who have also read it and are practicing a number of the philosophies behind it. After reading that book and learning more, I went on to become a certified trainer for infinite possibilities, which is another law of attraction philosophy, but a little different. Instead of The Secret, which is very based on specifics and details, infinite possibilities is really the art of living your dreams. And it takes the law of attraction kind of to the next level in a way where you're thinking more of big picture and how you want things to feel and how you want them to look. But you're giving the universe a lot of ability to really play to whatever it thinks serves you the best. And I'll dive into that a little bit more as we get into some of the journaling prompts. One thing I want to tell you guys, as you probably heard, I believe in the universe. That's my belief system. So you may hear references to the universe, my higher self, source. Please use whatever belief system works for you, whether that's God, whether that's Buddha, whether that's Allah, whatever your belief system is, please fit the word that fits for you. And just keep an open mind as we're going through. Wanted to kind of cover the agenda a little bit. Some of the things that we're going to be covering today. We're going to look at 2017. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about why I think that this class is so important because of the events that happened for me in 2017. We're also going to go through some journaling prompts to start creating the seeds of our vision and our intention for 2018. I'm going to walk you guys through a guided visualization to really kind of plant those seeds. And then we're going to get into the fun part, which is actually creating the vision boards. And I've got a couple different opportunities or things for you to use as tools and resources as we do that. So a couple other logistics as we're getting started here. I will break and have time for questions. So if those pop up, please let me know. At the bottom of the window here, there's definitely a Q&A box. You can use that. If you prefer to use the chat, that's fine too. If you use the chat, I'd prefer you to wait till I get kind of to the Q&A breaks, because sometimes if that's blinking off like crazy, it can be a distraction for people. But like I said, plenty of time for Q&A. I'd like this to be as interactive as you need it to be. Another thing, this is being recorded. So if for any reason you're unable to listen to the entire course today, you can always listen to the replay. I'll probably have that up on my website within 24 hours. This is my first one, so I'm hoping I can get it posted quickly, but in case it's not, just keep looking. It'll be up there shortly. I'll post on the Facebook group as well and let you know once it's up and it's available. This course is, like I said, a free masterclass. I'm going to be doing these monthly. If you want to pay attention to those coming up, I do have an events page on my website, which is tiffanymarlink.com/events. And you can look forward for these masterclasses. I'll also create the events in Facebook if you're following me there. So let's go ahead and get started. And one thing I'd like to do, since you've taken the time to be here and be present with me, let's just go ahead and kind of like settle into what we're about to do. And to do that, I'd like you to let go of anything that you might be carrying right now that will not benefit you for the next 90 or so minutes. So if you kind of rushed here from another meeting, or maybe you had a bad day at work, kind of just take a couple breaths, clear your mind, clear your energy, and kind of recenter yourself and be fully present, letting go of anything that does not serve you to allow for your full creative energy to flow. Okay, let's just take a couple of deep breaths together. Take a breath in. Let's do one more. Just Just letting go of any tension, any worry, any anxiety, any frustration. Good. Excellent. So what I want to start talking to you about today is kind of really why I thought this was such an important, starting point for 2018, the vision board. And particularly, I wanted to share with you my vision board from 2017. So I'm going to click over a second. And you guys should be able to see now, this is my vision board from 2017. And as you can see, it's very word-centric, but there are some images. And I'm going to walk you through how we got to the images that are here. But I just wanted to kind of point out that I had a focus for 2017. And that focus was extremely feelings-based, because I felt it was important that I felt a certain way and allowed the universe to kind of put in my path the things that I would need in order to get to that point. And so you'll see there, happy, healthy, and fulfilled were really my three top priorities, or my three intentions that I set for 2017. And for those of you who don't know me or my personal story, I started in accounting and had been working in accounting at a startup company for quite some time. I was really focused in on making the best accountant self that I could create. I was working extra long hours, putting in all the time and energy that I could, doing everything that I possibly could to make that part of my life a success. And what I found was that I was coming home and feeling depleted. I was feeling empty and I was feeling frustrated. I would talk with my boyfriend about how I was unable to just be happy. Like I was doing all of these things and achieving all of these things, and yet I just kind of felt empty. And so in January last year, I sat down and was working through a program, and one of the things said, okay, what would you like to feel this year? And I looked at my life and I said, you know what? I want to be freaking happy, like all the time, like holistic, sustainable happiness, like full on all the time. And I kept thinking everything else just kind of falls under that umbrella. Like if I'm happy, I'm going to love my life. If I'm happy, I'm going to be doing things that I want to do. I'm going to be feeling the things that I want to do. My relationships are going to be awesome. All these things are going to be lining up. And I'm like, okay, so that's my number one, was happy. And in order to do that, I also felt like I needed to fix some things from a health perspective. I was working at this company and really giving it my all, and I wasn't fueling my body correctly. And it was causing issues in energy. It was causing issues with my skin and, brain fog, the whole bit. And I was like, I really just need to get back to a space where I can be, body, mind, and soul present in every way. So healthy became my second word. And then the last word was fulfilled. And this really stemmed from going to work every day, knowing I was doing my best, knowing I was doing a kick-ass job at being an accountant, but yet kind of feeling like, what's my purpose? Like, what am I doing here? Yeah, I'm putting numbers in the right spot and I'm creating reports and I'm giving presentations, and that's super helpful. But am I really moving the needle? Am I really making a difference? And in a lot of ways, my personal life was kind of coming up against the same worry or concern. I'd go out with friends and we'd have this great time, but then I'd come home and the next morning I'd be hungover and tired and I'd lose an entire day. And it's like, is this really fulfilling for me? And so as we build these vision boards together, I'll walk you through kind of some of the steps. But for me, I just wanted to point out, when I built my 2017 vision board, it was really centered around three basic things that were super simple, three feelings that when it came to making decisions about how I'm going to spend my day, where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do when I'm there, who I'm going to be surrounded by, it was really easy for me to kind of check in and say, you know what, is this going to make me happy? Is this going to be a healthy decision for me? Or is this going to leave me fulfilled? Okay. So I want to talk a little bit. I'm going to actually stop my screen share here a second so you guys can see me. I think my biggest achievement from last year was a total plot twist. Like I said, I was working in a company doing all the accounting, and about midway through the year, I had built up enough momentum of these happy, healthy, fulfilled moments that I finally reached the point that I could say without a question in my mind that I was meant to do more in my life. And that was to help spread knowledge and serve people like you by being a coach, a mentor, and a teacher. And so for me, that's my biggest accomplishment this year, was stepping away from something that was tried and true to really living a life that aligns with my purpose and my passion. And for me, like, that gets me all giddy and excited and happy inside. And so I want to start out with our first journal prompt, okay? And what I would like you to do is get out your notebooks or set up a Word document or whatever works for you. And I'm going to give you guys about 2-3 minutes to write down what from 2017 is your highlight reel. What are the moments that make you feel accomplished? What are the moments that make you feel proud? What are the moments that you're like, I rocked this year and this is why? Okay, so I'll give you guys just like 2 to 3 minutes. And again, looking for your 2017 highlight reel. What was your best of? Give you guys just 10 more seconds. Excellent. You guys could just take a break from that, put your pencils down, switch back to the screen. So good. I hope you're feeling some, energetic, some good vibes, kind of raised up. Start getting those creative juices flowing. Start getting some of that writing flow going. Writing is something that I'm a big believer in. So if this is something that you don't do on a normal basis, definitely give it a try, because I think it's something that's can be truly transformational. So now that we've got kind of some good vibes going and some recap of 2017, I want to start talking a little bit more about 2018, but I'd like to begin that with a story. And the story is one that you may have heard before, of a baby elephant. And the trainer of this baby elephant wanted to make sure that this elephant stayed in the grounds where they were doing the training. So they would tie a rope around the elephant's foot and attach that rope to a stake. And the rope wasn't really large or significant. It wasn't a chain by any stretch of the imagination, but it was strong enough that it could hold the baby elephant and keep the baby elephant from wandering off. And as the elephant grew, it slowly stopped trying to get away and became bound by this stake. And as a full-grown elephant, it could easily have broken away. It could have broken the stake, it could have broken the rope, it could have just walked away. But it had this mindset or this belief that said, I can't go anywhere, I'm tied to this place. So as we're thinking through our 2018 intentions, I would really love for you to realize that you can dream and live as big as you want to be. You don't have to be the baby elephant that's still tied to the stake. That rope that's there can be broken, okay? So when you are going through the rest of these exercises and we're really developing what we want our intention to be, I want you to step outside your current reality and know that the world is an infinite resource for you, okay? So no restriction, no judgment. The world is your oyster, okay? So let's plant some seeds and you can plant whatever it is that you would like to do, okay? So when I was telling you kind of at the beginning about my vision board for 2017, one of the key pieces of information that I had out there was my 3 top feelings, okay? And the reason why I think these are so important, when you think about the law of attraction, if you studied under the philosophy of The Secret, it would say get super specific. So for example, when I originally started studying The Secret, I used to do these little tiny experiments that I love to do. And I know a couple of you who are on here have done them before, where I ask you to think about something you would like to have. One example I've done before is a crisp $100 bill. And you just imagine that you have that item and then, be grateful that you have it. And then from there, allow it to manifest into your life. The thing that's a little bit different that I'm asking you to do with this vision board today is be a little bigger and more open-minded in your goal or intention. By setting a feeling, you are allowing the universe to bring you something that's maybe even greater than what you had in mind. So maybe it didn't want to bring you a crisp $100 bill. Maybe it wanted to bring you $1,000. So don't limit yourself to the stuff that you already know. By putting out there the feelings that you want to have, the values, the thoughts, the beliefs, we actually create a container that the universe can fill with something that we didn't even realize was possible. In one way that I'd like to tell you an example of how this kind of manifested in my life. One of the images on my vision board, which I'm not sure if you saw it, was a Rumi quote about travel and adventure. And when I created my board, I thought to myself, I want to travel. I want to have some adventure this year. And of course, I thought of it in the perspective of, I want, safe, comfortable travel. Like, I'll go to Europe where I blend in and everyone speaks English and I kind of know my way around because I've been there before. But it's still an adventure and it's still saying that I traveled internationally. And so I said, you know what, think big. I just want travel and adventure. And I want to learn more about myself. I want to live big. I want to be happy. I want to be fulfilled. And midway through the year, my boyfriend and I were invited to go to Vietnam and Laos. And we were invited to go and ride motorcycles across the country. And I immediately said no. I was like, there's no way. I have no interest in going to Southeast, and Asia. And not to mention, I don't even know how to ride a motorcycle. Like, I don't know if this is the right thing for me. And I just, kind of was like, all right, I'm just going to sit with this for a moment. And, I just don't know if it's the right thing for me. And my boyfriend was totally gung-ho. And he's like, I really want you to go on this adventure with me. I just think it would be so awesome. And I was scared. There was a fear in me that literally thought I could go and die because what if my motorcycle goes off the edge of a cliff, or I don't know, whatever else happens, maybe we get out in the country, I get lost, I don't speak Vietnamese. What if nobody speaks English and I'm just out, worst case scenario, the mind doing all of its magic, the things that it does for fun. And when it came time to book the flights, I had shifted my mindset a little bit to be a little more allowing to the idea, because I remembered that I wanted travel and I wanted adventure. And I thought, if this is really meant to be, it will be affordable. That was my low man on the totem pole. Like, okay, maybe I'll go since Dave's going, and if it's affordable, I can make it happen. And so when time came to book the flights, Dave turned to me and he's like, round trip tickets are $550. And I just looked at him like, you've got to be crazy. Like, I could fly to Hawaii for that much. And this is clear across the world for 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, done. I'll go with you. And so we signed up, we bought our tickets. And then I was like, well, crap, now I have to figure out how to ride a motorcycle. So, next steps. And so we took the classes and I was scared to death. And I didn't even pass the class. I didn't pass. And I was like, this is clearly a sign that I'm not supposed to be going. And Dave's like, nope, this is just a sign to remind you to be safe, to think this through, to have this happen here in a safe environment so it doesn't happen there. Like, you're fine. So we went. And I totally heeded his advice and said, I'm going to have a great time because this is important. And it ended up being the most amazing trip ever. The country was beautiful. The people were amazing. The group that we were with was fun, was friendly, was adventuresome. I will say I was the only female that did not separate from her bike because I'm just good like that. Actually, I'm not. It's more of like a risk aversion thing. I drive super safe. But anyways, it was awesome. And it totally pushed myself beyond my limits. It created a challenge that said, you know what, Tiffany, you have to stay true to yourself. And you know that you can do this and that you're going to be just fine. And when I look back, I'm like, I asked for this. I put it on my vision board. And yeah, it would have been nice to go to Europe and have this like really simple, easy vacation. But I wouldn't tell the stories that I tell today about my Vietnam trip if we had just gone to Europe. So when you think about kind of what you're putting into this vision board, think big picture, think items that you want to feel and things you want to experience, and don't necessarily be hooked to the specific outcomes. You don't have to say, I want to go on a European vacation that's 7 days long and these are the countries that I want us to go. And, allow for some creativity and allow for some fun to be infused into your trip. So before we jump into some of these journal prompts, I want to just take a pause and see if there are any questions or anything that's coming up for anyone. You're welcome to use the Q&A feature at the bottom, which allows you to send a question that's anonymous, or you can drop it in the chat function too, whatever works for you. I'll just give you guys a couple moments in case there's any questions. All right. Well, if anything does come up, please, like I said, feel free to drop something in the Q&A box, or you can drop it in the chat feature as well. And what I would like to do next is start back on those journal prompts. So we're going to start building the intention for 2018 by dropping some seeds into the container, okay? And what I'd like you to start with is what I was talking about earlier, the feelings, okay? So what would you like to feel in 2018? And I'm going to switch back over to my screen. And like I said, I'm going to give you guys probably about 2 to 3 minutes here. And if you could just write down anything that you want to feel in 2018. Give you guys about another 15 seconds here. All right, wrap up what you're writing, bring back. Now I'm going to ask you what values you would like to prioritize. And I gave a couple examples here. You're obviously not restricted to this list. And in fact, I ask that you please think outside this box and kind of create your own list of values. But what is something that is valuable for you that you would like to prioritize or focus on? And again, I'll give you guys another 2 to 3 minutes to write some of these down. Give you guys about 15 more seconds here. All right, pencils down or flip back. And the next question that I want to ask you guys is, who do you want to become? Okay, so think about if you were to step into the shoes of your future self. So imagine you are 1 year from where you are now, or 5 years, or 10 years, whatever feels comfortable for you. And you were to look at the person that you've become, how would you describe that person? Who are you now as you stand before you as your future self? Again, I'll give you guys another 2 to 3 minutes to kind of write that down and describe this in any way that you see fit. This could be what you see, what you feel, what you think, what you have. Who have you become? How would you describe yourself? All right, I'm gonna give you guys about 15 more seconds. Excellent. Come on back. Now, this will be the last journal prompt question that we've got. What would you like to have? So this is going back, like I said, you can get as detailed as you want or as big picture. If you want a brand new car, you can say a brand new car. Or you could say the brand new matte black G-Wagon, like I would love. Whatever suits you. And you're, like I said, you're welcome to get as detailed as you would like. I've gotten detailed in the past and it's totally worked out. You could also just say, I want something in the general direction. The key is really, put something out there and be open to whatever comes. So I may say that I want a matte black G-Wagon, but then all of a sudden this super totally blacked out Range Rover with black rims and sunroof and everything else that I really want is coming to me for half the price. Awesome, I would love it, and I'm not going to shut that out just because I wanted the G-Wagon. So don't be so attached to the outcome that it has to be just exactly that. But feel free to get creative here in what you would like to have. And this could be material possessions or intangible things. So kind of open up your mind, kind of follow your heart, and really, dream some big stuff here. Again, I'm going to give you about another 2 to 3 minutes and think about what would you like to have in 2018. All right, give you guys about 15 more seconds here. Excellent. All right, so let's come back. And does anyone have any questions before we move into the next part, or anything that they would like to share that maybe came up from their from the journal prompts? Ooh, we got some clarity. Love that. Does anybody else want to add anything in? Awesome. Yeah, so you got the prompts helping you drill down to a granular level. Yeah, which I think is actually a great lead-in. I'm just going to give you guys a couple of minutes or a couple seconds, kind of glance back through your notes. We went through a couple different items, so just take a glance back, read back through your notes, and give you just 20, 30 seconds to do that. And we're going to do a visualization, so a short kind of guided meditation to start imprinting some of these things, planting the seeds, if you will, of these intentions. So kind of gather through your notes a little bit and kind of get an idea of the general direction that you were headed. We got a question here. Do you recommend ranking or prioritizing these to alleviate stress? I would say I would put together a focus, which is something that we're going to do kind of after the visualization. Kind of, as I had mentioned, for 2017, I created my like 3 key things. I had a number 1 and then the kind of 2 supporting actors, if you will. And that really helped me to narrow it down to something that was manageable. So we'll definitely get into that after the visualization, kind of creating a focus point. But excellent question. Yes, I would recommend getting them to a state that you can manage them without feeling like you have a million things to try to remember. For sure. Good question. Any other questions before we jump into the visualization? Awesome. So if you feel comfortable doing so, I invite you to close your eyes. If not, I ask that you just create a soft focus, either somewhere in front of you or on your computer screen, whatever is comfortable for you. And I want you to imagine all of those things that you just wrote down as if you already have them. Okay, so if you wrote down feeling, I want you to feel that feeling as if it exists for you right this moment. Feel your body's response to having that feeling as it's occurring currently in your body. I want you to take a moment and reflect on those values that you wrote down. Where are you placing your focus? How is that lifting you up and taking your life to the next level? How are those items showing up for you? I want you to think of the person that you've become. What are you wearing? Where are you? What are you doing? Who else is around you? What are you saying to yourself? Are you proud of yourself? Are you grateful for all of the things that you've accomplished? Are you happy that you've found love and trust in yourself and in others? And what about that last question? What else do you have? If it's a tangible item, imagine holding that item, touching that item as if it's currently in your life. Feel your body's response to having that item, the joy that it brings you, the happiness, the peace, the safety, the security, the balance, the calm. Take one more breath in. Imagine filling your heart with all these beautiful things that you have just created and are so grateful that they are now in your life. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Come back into the room that you're in. And if you need to, take a few moments and jot down anything else that may have come up. Any notes, if when you closed your eyes, something else appeared that you hadn't thought of when you were doing the original journal prompts, just go ahead and write those down. Okay. And now I'd like to circle back to the question, talking about ranking or prioritizing. What I'd actually like you to do, and this is going to be helpful for our vision board creation, is go through and see if there are any themes that are standing out or any words that really stand out or resonate with you, things that could be potentially keywords for your year. just spend, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds looking back through your notes, again, circling or highlighting some of the things that really stand out for you that you would like to bring out in 2018. Excellent. And if it would be helpful, you know, kind of what I did was I took my short list and then I made it even shorter and shorter, and I got down to a, you know, top 3. If you can get to that point now, great. As we're creating our vision boards, kind of the process that I used, I can show you some other tools that might help you narrow down or prioritize some of your items as well. Is there anything that is coming up for you guys, or any questions that you have before we start jumping into the actual boards? Anything that came up from the visualizations or journal prompts? All right. So we're going to jump into the creation portion. We're going to use the journal prompts that we just did and use those for creating. Those will be kind of the backbone of what we're doing. I think there's a number of ways that you can create a vision board. You can go old school, cutting up magazine pictures, putting them on a poster board, or, you know, wherever works for you. Maybe it's on your desk top, or maybe it's on your wall behind your computer. I personally start with Pinterest. You don't have to use Pinterest. You can easily use Google searches for images, words. You can print your own photos, take photos. There's a number of different ways that you can do this, but I'm going to show you what I use right now, which is Pinterest to get started. And share my screen here. So as you'll see, if you haven't used Pinterest before, you can create a board, and move this because I think you guys can see me too. You can create a board, and you can choose to say whether that board is locked or not. In fact, I think I'll start back here. So this is my page. From here, you could click Create Board, which is going to pop up with a little window. You can give it a name. And then this button here, Secret. So for example, when I originally created my vision boards, I set them as secret because I wanted them to be something where I could put whatever I wanted out there without having anybody else look at it. So feeling like I could really choose whatever images I wanted to without worrying about judgment or concern for anyone else. Now I will gladly tell you that if it would be of interest for you to see the boards I created, I'd be more than happy to turn them public and send you a link, and you're welcome to check them out. When I first created, you can see here, Tiffany 2.0. That was my 2016 and 2017 board. I wanted to just take my life to the next level, so it was Tiffany 2.0. For 2018, and the one that I'll show you guys today, my 3 words are love, authentic, and connected. And so I started searching through Pinterest, and I literally started just doing a search for those words. So if you type in love, for example, it will come up with, you know, some different images that you can choose. You can save them and then click to save them to your board. If you click on the image itself, it also gives you related images. And you can almost kind of go down the rabbit hole here. And I highly recommend you do that. For me, when I start creating, I just start clicking. And if things resonate with me, I like the way they look, I like the way things they say, or they're a pretty image, I like them and I save them and then I click through. And it becomes super helpful for me because when I go back to my board, I can start to see trends. And these trends are what kind of helped me get to my top 3 because I started with a bigger selection of keywords and just did a bunch of searching and a bunch of following. And then as I started to look at my board more serious, for more serious themes, I started to see things that were coming up that were more consistent. I'm just kind of showing you some of the fun things, like ordinary life does not interest me. Fun, quirky, things that make me smile. There was one image that I had on my 2017 board that was this donkey with this ridiculous smile on his face. And I don't know, it just made me happy to look at it. So these don't necessarily need to be, I don't need a happy donkey in my life, but I like being surrounded by things that make me happy, which include a happy donkey. So, think outside the box and get kind of creative here. Another thing that you can do is just look for Google searches. And like here, I typed in happy. And yeah, there's a lot of minion stuff here. But there's some good stuff too, like we'll choose happy or this happy smiley face in the sky or smiling children, or this was actually an image that was on my 2017 board. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time here, and you can use Google, you can use Pinterest, you can take some time to go through the photos on your phone, because those can be saved. You can save images to Pinterest that are from the other sites on the web. Upload a pin, so I could save a picture, for example, or save from a website. So if I had another link to an article that I liked or image, I could save that here and bring it over. So I'm going to give you guys some time to kind of go through here and just start creating either a folder or a Pinterest board or, a collection on your phone, whatever really works for you. But start collecting and putting together some of the things that you would like to see on your vision board, okay? We're going to work through this for maybe like 10, 15 minutes. So I'm going to kind of really let you guys run with this. As you're working through this, if you have any questions, if anything comes up for you, please feel free to drop something in the Q&A or jump on the chat feature. Happy to field questions there as well. So kind of work through here, have some fun, get creative. I'll give you guys just about 30 seconds more, and then we're going to circle back. I'm actually going to kind of wrap up a little bit earlier than planned so you guys can have some time to just kind of work on this as you see fit. So just a few more seconds if you could just wrap up where you are. All right, we can get you guys to come back. Hopefully you found some good images, some things that really resonated with you. And so as you're looking back at your board or looking back at your folder of images or whatever you have created so far, it's always kind of interesting to look because you'll find that there's a theme that tends to come up. And maybe it's something that, you know, when you started doing this process, you had kind of a, I'm not sure, or I don't know. But the more you kind of work with this and the more you kind of follow through and just follow where your heart leads you, you will find that there's a theme that will come up and something that you can really use as a smaller image that maybe stands for a lot more. From here, there's really two thought camps. Look at it every day and put it away and let it manifest. If you're like me, I kind of like to be reminded. So when I took my Pinterest board last year, I really honed in on my 3 words and I put that into a Word document. And then I pulled images that I really, really liked and just literally cut and paste them into the Word document. And I had this, you know, image that created something that I could print and hang on my closet door. It was about the right size that I set it as the backdrop on my computer for a little while. I had a copy saved on my phone, so I would, you know, set that as the backdrop, or just, it was a favorite image in my phone so I could look at it every now and then. I had specific images that I really liked. I have one that says, I believe in you. And that's what I set as my lock screen. So every time that I unlock my phone, I get this reminder that I believe in you. And for me, that's super powerful. So you can do kind of one or two things. You can take what you are creating, build a 1-page summary, put it somewhere that you see it on a regular basis. You can create a board, like the Pinterest board, and kind of come back to it as, you know, you think about it, or add to it if you're a, you know, regular Pinterest browser. And, you know, you're going through your nightly thing and you're kind of scanning, you can add stuff to your board as you're kind of going through the year. It doesn't have to be stagnant. The other philosophy or thought process is you put your intention out there and then you let the universe do its work. And this is always kind of fun too. So I was really, really into my vision board for about the first 6 months of the year. And then it became something that was there, but I didn't really look at all the individual words that were on it. And at the end of the year, I sat down and really looked at it and I was like, wow, a lot of this stuff really came to life. And that was pretty awesome. So if you really want to just trust, sit back, and let the universe do its work, the other thing I would recommend is doing a digital or physical, if you would like, time capsule. You know, create it, give it your blessing, and then set it aside. And, you know, maybe set yourself a reminder a year from now, and you can circle back and see what created or what manifested from the seeds you planted today. Or you can just leave it totally to the imagination. You know, maybe 5 years from now, it'll come back up and, you know, you'll look at what's been accomplished or what's been achieved. So really follow what works best for you, what resonates for you. If you like daily reminders, incorporate it into your life. You can set the images as screensavers on your computer so they flip through like a photo album. You know, just whatever works for you. Cut them out, laminate them, hang them on your wall, whatever works for you. One thing I'd like to tell you a little bit about, we walked through, from a law of attraction perspective, how to create the vision. And the way to make that vision a reality is to take action. So I'd like you to imagine if this vision board was an end destination, and for the sake of this example, let's say that destination was Tahiti, okay? And when you want to go somewhere, I'm going to put this into a metaphor for you. You use a GPS, okay? How many of us are using Waze or, you know, Google Maps or something, and they're like, oh, I just need to go across town, but I'm going to let Waze tell me how to get there. So you punch in this address. That's what you're doing for the universe. You punched in the address, okay? So we planted the seed today. You put in the end destination that said, in 2018, this is where I'm going. The next thing is you have to put your car in drive. If you don't start moving, GPS isn't going to say, make the next left turn. It's going to wait. It's going to wait as long as you wait until you start taking some action. So once you get those destinations dialed in, the next thing you have to do is you have to take action. And there is no wrong action. I truly believe there is no wrong action. If you're driving on the highway and you're in the far right lane and it says the exit's on the left and you're like, who in the world puts an exit on the left? You don't make it. What does the GPS do? Recalculates. You can be driving down a road and it says turn left, recalculate. Take the next left. You still don't turn. You're still driving. It says, okay, just try the next one. And you're like, whatever. And then it's like, hey, yo, by the way, just make a legal U-turn at your next possible time. It's not going to give up on you. Just keep going. Just keep taking action. Just keep trying, and it will fall into place. So by being here today, I wanted to say thank you because you are taking action, even just setting the intention, creating the feeling the feels. The vibration that you put out there today and the images that you created have already started the process. And if you continue to take steps forward, the universe is going to respond by aligning things in the path that gets you to where you need to go, even if that requires an extra left turn or making a legal U-turn, okay? So just keep going. And one thing I also wanted to tell you a little bit about is if you're the kind of person who maybe puts the car in drive, goes a little bit, and then you're like, I'm kind of over it, I wish someone else would drive me. I'm here to tell you that that's kind of what I do. So if you're looking for someone who you would like to help navigate you through change, I am a life coach, and that is what I absolutely love. When you look at a vision board and when you create something new, it's so awesome to be so excited in the moment and so motivated in the moment and think like, this is the best thing ever. And then a week from now, you're kind of like, I forgot I even did that thing. And now I've got this to-do list and I got to take the dog out and I got to go to the grocery store and I got to da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, what happened? You know, and then 2 months down the road, you're like, healthy, psh, whatever. So the beauty of working with a life coach, change is difficult. You get excited and then your brain gets overwhelmed. And then your brain says, hey, yo, emotions, jump in on this. We're good where we are. We don't need her to make any other changes because that's going to be uncomfortable. So the emotions are like, oh yeah, we're totally stressed out, anxiety to the max. We're done. Like this is as far as we want to go. And then you find yourself just saying, okay, maybe this is all right where I am, instead of going where you really want to go. And what I'm here to tell you is you don't have to do this alone. I know you can get there if you really want to, but you don't have to. I've navigated a number of changes in my life. And as someone who's trained to be able to help you through that process, I just want you to know that I am here for you if this is something that would be beneficial. The other thing I'd like to say is thank you for attending. This was my first masterclass, and I hope that you were able to get some information out of it. I hope that this was able to provide you with a good intention setting for the year. I do ask if there is anything that you want to ask or any questions that you have before we kind of do the last close up, or if you have any comments or anything that you'd like to share. I'll give you guys just a couple minutes in case anybody wants to ask any questions. All right, well, if anything does come up or as you're working through your board, if you have any questions on how to use Pinterest, how to create this vision, how to make this vision an action plan, you know, I'm here to help. I can be reached at tiffany@tiffanymarlink.com. You can send me a Facebook message. You can give me a call. My number is 503-850-8384. Whatever works for you. And like I said, I really appreciate you guys being here today. One thing that would be super, super helpful for me, if this message resonated with you, or if you follow me on social media and find the information that I give to be helpful, I would love it if you could share that with one other person. I'm really trying to grow and reach a lot of people, and I'm really looking to expand with other like-minded individuals who could use my help. So please share my word, help spread the word. And if you would like as well, I was asked by someone else if I could add a donation button. So if you go to my events page at tiffanymarlink.com/events, there is a donate button, and any gifts would be greatly appreciated. Keep in touch. Master classes are going to happen once a month. Those will be on my event page on my website, as well as I will post those on Facebook. So again, thank you all so much for attending today, wrapping up a little bit early so I can let you guys either get 15 minutes back or a chance to work on your boards. Please keep in touch. Have an awesome day, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.